this is where the book gets really offensive. So there's this kid who's been molested and killed. This is how he chooses to describe it: the bloodbath kid. The bloodbath boy, because we can't go a page without alliteration.
Oh yes.
The bloodbath boy lay back, like sheep, like pigs, like slaughterhouse bulls, cut into ribbons by the thrill-kill human race, who are nothing without butchery and hatchets and vindictive cruelty. Spared on and take no prisoners, depopulate and feel greatness, murder and kill and cherish the skill, laugh when the bull cries real tears, laugh when the sheep struggles at repeated stabs, laugh as the pigs dash their own brains out in preference to the massacre ahead, and this bloodbath boy did the same. Can you believe that he's comparing the rape and murder of a child to the killing of an animal for meat?
That's, yeah. Jesus.
That's when the book started to lose me a bit, and I considered not reading anymore.
At that point.
I braved it out, because even though that is horribly offensive, I was quite intrigued to see where he would take it from there.
Where do you go from there?
Can you believe, though, in 2015 someone finds that an appropriate thing to publish? It's just insane, isn't it?
Yep.
Like, someone could be that unself-aware and that... It's terrible. Then he has a go at journalists.
Oh yeah, of course. All the people writing stories about him.
Yeah. So basically, he's talking about how the sort of this child's death has been swiftly forgotten about the newspapers. Let's have a look.
Like Madeleine McCann.
Like Madeleine McCann. Passive goodwill is the middle line, yet the overall assumption is that TV viewers themselves haven't the mental capacity to penetrate any news story, so why therefore should the actual reporters? It simply is not necessary, and as long as viewers remain tortured by worry and concern, then the news has fulfilled its contract to the human race. Just constant goes at people. Morrissey has it. Just hates like Page 82, who do you think Morrissey's next target will be?
Other celebrities?
Oh no, think more politically.
David Cameron.
No, he wouldn't. It's set in...
Margaret Thatcher.
Yes, it's set in the 70s. So
of course, yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher. But then again, even if it was set in the 70s, I have a feeling Morrissey wouldn't care anyway, he would just attack modern figures.
Yeah.
It sounds like that kind of book. So Margaret Thatcher then.
Yeah, I read in The Guardian, humorously, that this book is about like it's like race, like what they're called, runners?
A track race.
Track race.
Yeah.
And it manages to even get the measurements of track racing wrong.
Oh dear.
So this is some conversation.
So he didn't even do his research.
He didn't even do his research, no. So this is one of the vaulted conversations. Well, Professor Ezra began, England apparently has its first leader of a political party who is female. No, said Eliza, England has its last female party leader. She's already a token woman, saying she's not a feminist. I wonder how she broke through those gates then, on the strength of her featherweight boxing, I suppose. Yes, whereas I hate womb men like that. They just can't wait to be one of the boys, and just watch, if she becomes Prime Minister, she won't hire any women into her government. See, she's using a literary trick there.
Yeah.
Using what the audience know
Yes.
against them. Why do I even care? I mean, just look at her face. It's all there in plain anguish. Cheat the poor. And then, in case if we didn't know, he goes, her name is Thatcher, although...
In case you haven't worked it out.
Although, I don't know, you could be right when you say hatchet. Just look at that boneless face. If ever an engine of grief. Look, I won't worry about the tournament. It's already unwon. It's gone. And haven't you noticed? More important things have replaced it. Children are starving to death all over the world. Government officials are having enlightened activists bumped off. Dictators are slaughtering the people of their own country. 2 billion loving animals a year are being butchered in concentration camps, chained against their sisters and mothers.
So what? So he draws upon the murder of animals to compares it to the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! Can you believe that?
Jesus Christ.
Alright, let's see if there's any more notes to round off this miserable novel.
I feel miserable now.
Yeah.
I feel like killing myself. I feel like a character in a Morrissey song.
Character in a Morrissey. Shouldn't they've just they saw the future and just read the book?
Yeah.
This one wasn't any particularly bad. This is just the worst use of his sort of writing style. I'm not going to give you any context into this because I think the crappy writing alone. But with the old glory rising with the lash of a whip at the starboard tip of a mid-storm ship losing its grip. That's cringe-worthy, isn't it? Have you ever heard of a novel that you think sounds worse than this one?
No, I actually can't. I must admit that it's. It's quite hard for me to come across a novel which I just hate. Or I can't read because the writing's dreadful.
Yes.
I just don't go near them. Or I know after a page that shit, I can't read this. The writing's so bad. But
it is.
To this, it sounds like I'd kind of want to keep reading.
Yeah.
I'd kind of want to see how bad it gets.
It is the room of books.
Oh.
Just constantly he finds a new way to annoy and frustrate the reader. I mean, what was he trying to accomplish? The freedom of all animals through writing a novel? Is that what he foresaw? Are there not bigger issues at play? Could he not have tried to topple the Conservative government if his ambition was that high? Could he not have tried that instead?
Could he not have tried to write a book which supports Jeremy Corbyn?
Exactly.
Actually, no, don't, because don't associate Morrissey with Jeremy Corbyn.
I like to pretend that he's a Thatcherite, really, like a secret one.
Morrissey.
Yeah, just so I don't have to associate with anything good.
Yeah.
This is another great bit. On the television that blared ridiculously loud above the bar, Muhammad Ali yapped his fired soul of a rascal fury at the announcement of his future marketplace boxing theatrics with Joe Frazier. Ali, a show business show-off, combining the expected lack of respect...
A show business show-off?
Oh yeah. Constant use of writing that bad. Combining the expected lack of respect and the full stage show dramatics with the illusory importance of what would be, in fact, no more than a glorified shoving match. The best promise a grown man can make to the world. How easy to kill, how queasy to kiss. There are too many secrets in nature. Singing voices are love, but a professional fight pulls in millions of dollars, whereas a similar scrap on the street ends in arrest and public humiliation. No. There's a capper onto that line. And the almighty godliness of the ever-sacred cash fine to the court's quite immoral advantage. There is no financial gain from the street corner bus stop, and since money turns the world, the courts rake in as much as it can as at the expense of human misfortune. And would you like to know how Morrissey does that? What's that after human misfortune? Yes, it's like he's laughing with the audience.
He's laughing at you.
Look how clever I am, he screams, the writer. I've made a glib comparison between Muhammad Ali and a chav fighting in the street. Look how clever I am, you knobhead.
You know who is a really great musician turned author?
Oh.
Who doesn't write enough?
Who?
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Chronicles, if you've not read it, is an amazing book. It's, I can't decide whether it is partly fiction, but you don't really care because Bob Dylan's such a wonderful storyteller.
Yeah.
And his book is filled with life and passion and love, and it's basically the opposite of Morrissey's novel career. I'd actually love to see Bob Dylan write a fiction book.
I would. Well, didn't he write Tarantula?
Tarantula, yeah. I've not read that, but no. if it was to write a similar style to Chronicles, which is rich and warm and descriptive and beautifully written, you can tell this is a man who's quite poetic in his writing style, and he uses his songwriting skills really well and transcribing it into writing a book.
Yeah.
Just read Chronicles instead of autobiography or whatever this book's called.
List of the Lost.
List of the Lost.
You think he would use alliteration as flawlessly as Morrissey?
No, because we all know Morrissey is the second coming of Jesus Christ.
That's true. The most bizarre section of the book is a 2-page book having a go at the TV show Bonanza.
Oh, right, yeah.
He has a go at Bonanza for some reason. Why Bonanza? I don't have anything really to say.
Maybe it's traumatic memories of Bonanza.
There would never be any reference to a sexual act in Bonanza, and though the 4 men live openly and intelligent together, no heart-to-heart or tittle-tattle-prittle-prattle ever touches upon the workings of the very male bodies.
So basically, he just uses this book just to bitch and moan about everything.
Yeah, including his hatred of Bonanza.
Oh my god.
Oh god, yeah.
Maybe next he'll be like, oh, this damn Johnny Marr.
Yeah. Why? Why write this book? Why did he write this book? This is another one. This is a character talking. He was very religious, and therefore completely racist and everythingist.
So therefore, if you're vaguely religious, you're a racist.
And everythingist.
Everything that comes with it. Oh
yeah.
my god.
I am God's design just as much as anyone else. I wasn't created by Walt Disney.
Oh, he hates Disney as well. There you go, he's a miserable cunt then.
But what he tries to do is, that was said by the child molester murderer.
Okay.
Right, as a defence. Is that what Morrissey thinks, or the character, or both? I don't understand what he was going for with this book. This is the most. This is probably the least acclaimed thing Morrissey's ever done. That was all the notes I've got. The ending is quite disappointing.
This could even be a Shit's Peak.
Easily, yes.
A Shit's Peak just in Morrissey.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the worst thing Morrissey has ever done.
Wow.
I know.
Including his solo career.
His solo career has some highlights.
Oh yeah. So
Vauxhall and I is a good album. It's not great or anything, but it's good. And a couple
Suede Head.
Suede Head. You see, this is the thing. The book retroactively makes Morrissey worse. I can't imagine listening to the Smiths now, knowing that the writer in 30 years would write the worst novel ever written. It's just amazing to think, what's most frustrating is that it's a story about teenagers. He can do this in his sleep, all this. How the main theme of his 80s of the Smiths is, being a teenager. And
adolescence frustration.
He was perfect at that, writing songs about being a moody, depressed teenager. And he can't even write a book which has characters. They're just names for him to spout off his terrible garbage and his horrible opinions that make no sense and are ill thought out and don't fit into any kind of pragmatic worldview. God, he almost comes across as the worst human being on earth, never mind writer.
Oh dear.
I mean, it's pointless enough. Who does he honestly think is going to pick up that and become a vegetarian? Do they think, maybe eating meat is like killing and molesting children?
Who knows?
Yes, but that was list of the lost. If you're unfortunate enough to have read it, leave a comment. What did you think the worst line was? I'd like to see these Morrissey defenders come out and
that'd be funny.
And try and defend what we've said about the book.
Yeah.
Because most works of art where you can understand why people might defend them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if they aren't very good. I can't understand who would defend this claptrap book.
Claptrap. Yeah, you sound like a line from a Morrissey book now.
I know, claptrap.
Claptrap, trip, trap, low rap.
Rickle stickle.
Rickle stickle, lickle lickle.
Yes. Licky lolly riffle stiffle. The book is just terrible, and it's this is the thing, I don't know whether it's more or less loathsome than, those books that come out, and they're clearly written to corner the, mystery market, and they're just generic. And those kind of books that are
Kathy Reichs and...
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know which is worse, because this is a worse book because it's borderline unreadable, but that is a worse book because it's generic. I don't know which I prefer, because... it's a fascinating insight into Morrissey in a way.
Well, I'm a man that doesn't like doing things by half measure.
Yeah.
Either something's really good or it's really bad. Oh, it falls into the middle. I'm not interested in the middle.
No, me neither.
I'm interested either in the really great or the really bad.
Yes.
I would rather, not buy, but read Morrissey's book and find out how awful it has been. Read something where I want to get nothing out of it because it's so average.
If you get the chance, you or anyone at home, to read the book without financing Penguin, who really should be ashamed of themselves for this. This is a low point in literature.
It's been a low point in literature in general this year, because you've had the publishing house which basically took advantage of an old senile woman with dementia and basically forced her to publish unfinished manuscript in the form of To Kill a Mockingbird 2.
Yeah.
And that book's meant to be horrible.
Yeah.
And then you've got this.
You've got this. You've got all sorts of terrible. You've got the publication of Grey.
Oh yeah,
the 50 Shades of Grey sidequel.
Yeah.
You've just got like.
You've got the death of Terry Pratchett.
Yeah.
One of the greatest children's authors of all time.
What happened? What? How come now a man who can sit in his room without moving, watching television, is likely to be more intelligent than someone who reads every book that's released every year? You could, it's a shame, isn't it, that novels now don't have the cachet they do because publishing current houses just seem to feel the need to destroy their own industry through questionable and I'm assuming highly profitable means.
The fact of the matter is that publishing houses are very selective and they look for what can be the next big thing. Or something that fits within the big thing at the moment,
Yeah.
We're all interested in making as much money as possible. Publishing is just as corrupt as music or TV or film, really.
I reckon even more so now.
Probably.
With music, at least.
Well, especially with someone like Penguin.
Yeah.
Where, Penguin are meant to be... I always think of Penguin as they should be the defenders of classic literature.
Yeah.
They shouldn't let atrocities like a good example is like the Wuthering Heights cover they did a few years back, where it was a Wuthering Heights, a copy of Wuthering Heights, but it was done in a gothic style. It had like a sticker on the front, and it said Bella and Edward's favourite book, Twilight. One of the greatest novels of all time, one of the greatest gothic romantic novels of all time, was ruined by being associated with one of the worst books of all time.
Yeah.
We're living in an age where, a book about basically a domestic abuse victim becomes a multi-million bestseller. We live in a time where a book about a creepy stalker boyfriend is considered to be a highly romantic and exciting story. It's like, what?
What happened?
I don't know.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
That's major publishers. Obviously, I'm not talking about smaller publishing houses who do the best to publish great authors. I'm talking
Vintage are good.
Yeah. Vintage do a fine job. Or like any of the other smaller publishing houses who want to give authors a break and keep good authors on the payroll as long as they keep writing the books and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about like your big leaguers here, like your Penguins and various others.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad, but List of the Lost is a 1. It has no redeeming features as literature.
Jesus.
Yeah, I honestly think it may be the worst book ever written. I can't think of a book where the author has just stopped the narrative.
Is it even worse than 50 Shades of Grey?
In a way, I can at least understand why idiots like that. Yeah. Surely an idiot would feel, like a rube, like the kind of people who read that, who just, don't care at all about literature and just want some terrible sex-filled
a bit of thrill.
Yeah. They're the kind of people who don't read anything else, they just read that. But, Morrissey's book wouldn't even appeals to no one. You'd have to be the most ardent, blind Morrissey defender to try and defend the book. It has no redeeming features. It's just insane, how bad the novel is. It is unpublishable. If anyone else had written it, they would have been laughed at and probably blacklisted from the industry.
Probably.
It's just mind-boggling that this was actually published. I know that it's probably going to make a lot of money. It might even be a bestseller. I hope it isn't. I hope negative reviews make it flop. But yeah, if just don't buy it. Read it if you can get it for free. I don't usually advocate illegally downloading authors' work, but in this case, it's more than warranted. Also, if you can, eat chicken while reading it.
And get greasy marks all over your book or your Kindle.
Yeah.
And then send a picture to Morrissey by Twitter.
Yeah. What I would recommend is an abattoir worker, cutting the heads off pigs and serving them, making the book into a plate and serving it like that and taking a picture of it.
And then sending the carcass to David Cameron.
Yeah. Well, what's he doing tonight?
Yeah. He's going to make him squeal like a pig.
But yeah, List of the Lost, worst book ever written. Probably the worst work of art ever made. Because it's something unique as well to the art format. No other medium. Could you imagine a video game where, the character just turned around, and gave a 5-minute speech about something that the author, the creator liked.
You mean Deadly Premonition?
Deadly Premonition. It's worse than that. At least that was made with care, and they at least attempted to make a game.
Kind of.
There are things in that are objectionably good. The plot isn't dreadful. There is a plot at least, isn't there?
Kind of.
It's better than Deadly Premonition is better than List of the Lost. It's the worst work of art I've ever encountered. It is just insane. Morrissey it was part of one of the best bands ever, and then he had a terrible solo career, and now he's just ruined everything. I can't imagine him writing a second book. I hope he does, because I hope it sells no copies, because I imagine people who bought the first one aren't stupid enough to buy a second one. I can't understand how anyone could defend this. It sounds like I'm having a go at it because I am. There's just nothing in the book. There's no plot, no characters, nothing. And I'm not saying a book has to be like straightforward and linear, but it has to have something.
Mm-hmm.
I feel quite harsh saying like you can't do something in a book, but you just can't break off the narrative to talk about something you care about without doing any of the legwork necessary, can you?
I agree. I don't think there's anything.
Could you imagine if Joseph Campbell in the middle of what's the one that's based on Apocalypse? Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness. Yeah.
Just went and war is bad and
or like if George Orwell in the middle of like 1984 was like conservative governments are evil.
Yeah.
Like if he just came out and just said that, went on a huge rant about
the lasted 5 pages.
Yeah, like the political system of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dreadful book.
Or like if at the end of Animal Farm he put a note saying, by the way, this is about the rise of communist Russia. I gave like a huge page about how he feels about Russia.
Yeah.